Example 1 here on iterative methods is taking a look at the iteration formula. So starting with x0 equals 1 here, we want to use the iteration formula presented on the screen now to solve x cubed plus x squared minus 9 equals 0 to 1 decimal place. So here, what we want to do is use the initial value that we've been given, x0, to obtain a value for x1. We then use x1 to obtain a value for x2, and so on until we find a solution here to 1 decimal place. So in that case, x1 here is obtained by substituting x0, the value of x0 here, 1, into this iterative formula. So that gives us the square root of 9 over 1 plus 1 there, because we're using x0 here. So that gives us the square root of 9 over 2. And if we evaluate this on our calculator here, we get 2.121 320 344 there. Okay, now we don't want to round this value here, we want to keep as much accuracy as possible. And what we do now is we substitute this value back into the iteration formula to obtain x2. So therefore, x2 is equal here to the square root. This is going to be quite large due to the length here in terms of decimal places. So that's going to be 9 over 2.121 320 344 plus the 1 here. Okay, so plus 1. And again, we just put this into our calculator here. And if we do that correctly, what you should get for x2 is 1.698 056 292 there. Okay, so that's the value for x2 there. And we repeat again the previous step here until we get consecutive answers that are the same when rounding to 1 decimal place. So in this case now, we use this value here to find x3. So therefore, x3 here is going to be equal now. Again, this will be quite lengthy, so let's make sure we've got enough room here. To 9 divided by 1.698 056 292 plus the 1. And if we evaluate this on our calculator, what we get here is 1.826 399 382 there. Okay. So here, this doesn't, if we check to 1 decimal place rounding this doesn't give us a solution. So we need to do x4 now. So we calculate x4. So x4 here, again, that means we use the value of x3. So therefore, substituting this in here, we get 9 over the square root of 1.826 399 382 there. Okay, and don't forget your plus 1. So if we evaluate this, what we obtain here is 1.784 450 437. Okay, so here now, as we can see, x3 and x4 both round to the same value, to 1 decimal place. That tells us the root here is x equals 1.8. Okay, so x equals 1.8 is the root to 1 decimal place. Okay, so that gives us the solution to example 1 there. Example 2 here on iterative methods is taking a look at drawing iteration diagrams. So here we've been given this equation, and we're told this can be rearranged to give this iterative formula. And we've been given a starting value, and we're told to use the iteration formula to find x1, x2, and x3, and hence sketch a diagram to show that the sequence xn converges. So to start with, let's just work out x1, x2, and x3. So x1 here, well, we're going to use the initial value here of x0 equals 8. So that's going to be the square root of 7 lots of 8. So that's 7 times 8 there, plus 12. And if we evaluate this on our calculator, what you get here is 8.246 211 251. Okay. And again, just like we saw with example 1, we don't want to round this value here. We want to keep as much accuracy as possible. So now for x2, what we do is we use the previous value. So we substitute x1 into our iterative formula to obtain x2. So this is the square root now of 7 lots of 8.246, 211,251, and then we plus our 12 on here as well. Okay. And if we evaluate this on our calculator, what you should get here is 8.350058608 there. Okay, so that gives us the value of x2. And then finally, to obtain x3, we just repeat this one more time. We substitute x2 into our iterative formula to obtain x3. So x3 here is the square root. So this is the square root here of 7 lots, 8.350058608. Okay, and add our 12 on. And again, just evaluate this on your calculator, and what you should find here for x3 is this is equal to 8.394266. Okay. And now we can create the diagram for this iteration formula. All we need to do here is draw the lines y equals x and y equals the square root of 7x plus 12 on the same set of axes. And what we'd see here is something that looks like this. Okay. And we can see here we've got this staircase diagram here, and we can see our line here for y equals the square root of 7x plus 12. That's this green coloured line here, and y equals x is this line here. Okay, with the x0, x1, x2 and x3 there. Okay, so we should get something that looks like this. So that gives us the solution to example 2 on drawing iteration diagrams.